Hello and welcome once again on the lecture series of course Elements of Machine Design. Myself, Mr. S.S. Mari, Head of the Department, Mechanical Engineering Department, Sharad Institute of Technology, Polytechnic EDRA. Up to 7 lectures we have seen the introduction of the syllabus, introduction to the stress, strain, what is meant by machine design, what are the applications of this subject, why this subject is necessary for diploma engineers. We have also undergone the considerations in machine design, general procedure followed for the design of any machine component, different types of the stresses, what is the concept of stress, how stress is induced in the component, the concept of strain, what is meant by the strain, different types of stress and strain. We have also undergone what is meant by the principal stresses and principal strain, principal planes. We have also studied the concept of factor of safety, why the factor of safety consideration is important and which parameters are considered while selecting a factor of safety for a particular application. We have also undergone the stress strain diagram. We have studied the stress strain diagram, how this diagram is formulated or how this is drawn by conducting a simple tensile test. Let's move towards the next bit of the syllabus, that is the properties of the engineering materials. Now we know that as an engineer, the knowledge of materials and their properties is of great significance for a design engineer. The machine elements should be made up of such materials which has properties suitable for the conditions of operation. In addition to this, a design engineer must know or must be familiar with the effects which the manufacturing process and heat treatment process have on the properties of the materials. Hence, in this lecture, we will try to understand the different physical properties of the materials that we are using for our engineering applications. Before going into the properties of the materials, first of all, let's see how the materials are classified. What is the classification of the materials? We know that the engineering materials are broadly classified as metals and non-metals. Again, metals are further classified as ferrous metals and non-ferrous metals. The ferrous metals are those which have the iron as the main constituent or main element, such as cast iron, wrought iron and steel. The non-ferrous metals are those which have a metal other than iron as their main constituent, such as copper, aluminium, brass, tin, zinc, cobalt, nickel, vanadium. So these are some non-ferrous metals. So it is necessary to understand the properties of these metals, that is the physical properties of these metals. Because depending upon the physical properties of the metals, we are considering that metal for a particular application, or we are considering that metal for a particular use, how we can use that metals. So, selection of a particular material for the engineering purpose is of great significance. The selection of a proper material for engineering purpose is one of the most difficult problem for the design engineer, because before selecting that material for a particular application, it is the task of an design engineer to understand the different properties which are associated with that material and what is the meaning of that property and how that property is significant to that particular application. So the best material is one which serve the desired objective at the minimum cost. That is most important. Though we know the properties of the materials, but another criteria for the selection of material is the cost effectiveness of that material. So if we just undergo the different factors that are considered before selecting a particular material for a particular application, then we can highlight some points such as availability of the material, whether that material is easily available or it is difficult to available in close vicinity. That is the most important criteria. If we are going to decide a particular material, because we have already seen during the design procedure of an element, the selection of material is one of the steps for the design of a particular element or a particular machine component. So it is necessary that the material that we are going to select for a particular application, it should be easily available in the market. Then and then that material can be feasible for further processing. The next criteria is the suitability of the material for the working conditions. Means if we are selecting a particular material for our design purpose or for a particular application, it is necessary to understand what are the service conditions. We need to select a material in such a way that material should be applicable to that particular application or particular service conditions. Then and then we can go for that material. If that material is not applicable for that service conditions, and that can be understood by studying the different mechanical or physical properties of that material. Unless and until we do not study the different properties of the material, it is impossible to predict whether that material is good for a particular service conditions. The next criteria is the cost of the material. The cost of the final product is nothing but the cost of the manufacturing process, cost of the laborers, cost of the workers, cost of the machining processes, and then nothing but the cost of the material. So task of the design engineer should be that it should produce a material in such a way that the cost of that material should be less. Then it is possible only when we can select a particular material which is having a low cost. So these are some criteria depending upon which we can select a material for a particular application. The important properties which determine the utility of the material, means uses of the material, are physical, chemical and mechanical properties. Now we can categorize any element or any material into these three categories, these three properties. That is the physical properties, its chemical properties and its mechanical properties. If we say the physical properties, then under the physical properties we know that the strength of the material, elasticity, plasticity, toughness, hardness, creep, fatigue, these are some physical properties of the materials. If we go for the mechanical properties, under mechanical properties, again these considerations are considered, and then chemical properties. Again, under physical properties we can go for the density of the material, melting point, what are the melting points of the different materials, what is the value of the thermal conductivity, we can say a thermal property, that is the physical property. A coefficient of linear expansion is one of the property that is need to be considered while selecting a particular element, particular material for a designing of a particular element for a particular component. So this is the importance of the selection of the material for engineering applications and study of the mechanical properties of the materials. So during this lecture we will undergo a different mechanical properties of the material. You have already studied this concept in mechanical engineering materials. You have understood what are the different properties of the materials. So you have just have a look on the different properties, mechanical properties of the materials. The mechanical properties of the metals are those which are associated with the ability of the material to resist mechanical forces. That is the most important. These are the properties which are associated with the ability of the material to resist mechanical forces or load which is acting on the component. That is the mechanical properties. So the first mechanical property that we are studying is the strength. What is meant by the strength? Many times we said that this material is having good strength, this component is having good strength, but what is meant by the strength? In simple language, a strength is defined as it is the ability of the material to resist the externally applied force. And what is the condition? Without breaking. If we are applying an external force on any component, and if that component is able to resist that applied force without breaking, means that component do not break due to the application of load, then we can say that that material possesses a sufficient strength because it is resisting that application of force and it is resisting that breaking. That's why we can say that material is having some strength. The internal resistance offered by a part to an externally applied force is called stress, that we have also seen. Strength is different and stress is different. Strength is the ability to resist applied force without breaking. That is the concept of strength. Next property is the stiffness. What is meant by stiffness? It is the ability of the material to resist deformation. It is the ability of the material to resist deformation under stress. Now, what is meant by deformation? Deformation. Deformation means to change its dimensions. That is the deformation. To change its shape, to change its size. That is nothing but the deformation. If that material is able to resist this change in size, change in shape, change in volume, change in area, change in length, change in thickness, means change in overall shape of the component under the induced stress, then we can say that that material has some stiffness value. That is the resistant to the deformation under stress. That is nothing but the stiffness. And how we can measure that stiffness? By the value of Young's modulus. The Young's modulus is the measure of how that material is stiff. What is the value of stiffness of that particular material? So it is the ability of the material to resist deformation, means change in its shape under the stress. Next concept is the elasticity. You all know that. What is meant by the elasticity? It is the property of the material to regain its original shape after deformation, or we can say after removal of load. If that material is able to regain its original shape when we remove the load applied on it, then we can say that that material possesses some elastic properties. The simple example is when we stretch a rubber and when we release the load on the rubber comes to its original position. That is known as the elasticity. That is the concept of the elasticity. It may be noted that the steel is more elastic than rubber. Note down part. This property is desirable. Where this property is important? This property is desirable for materials used in manufacturing of tools and machines. This property is desirable, that it should not lose its elastic property. That is most important. Now, opposite to that, we can say a plasticity. It retains the deformation produced under a load permanently. Means when we apply the load on the material or a component, and if it deforms, means if it changes its shape and size. Try to understand. When we apply a load on a material, and if there is a deformation in the material due to the application of load, means if it changes its size and shape due to the application of load, and when we remove that load, it does not regain or it does not come to its original shape. It stays in that deformed state. That is known as the plasticity. Now, this property of the material is necessary for forgings, in stamping images on coins, and in ornamental work. That means the material should remain in its final shape after removal of the load. That is known as the plasticity. Next property is the ductility. Next mechanical property is the ductility. In simple language, we can say a ductility is nothing but ability of the material to be drawn into wire. Means if you take a simple example of a ductile material, say mild steel, if we can able to form a wires, or we can able to drawn that material into wire, then we can say that material possesses the ductility property. It is the property of the material that enables it to be drawn into wire with the application of tensile force. Simple common sense. If we apply a tensile force, we have seen what is meant by the tensile load or what is meant by tensile force. When we apply a tensile force on a ductile material, and if due to the application of tensile force, if that material is able to be drawn into wires, that means if by the application of that tensile force, if we can form wires from that material, then we can say that that is the ductile material and it possesses the property of the ductility. A ductile material must be strong and it should possess plasticity, means it should have a good strength as well as it should possess some plasticity. The ductility is usually measured. How it is measured? By the term percentage elongation and percentage reduction in area. How that material is ductile, how that material possesses, how much the property of the ductility that material possesses, this we can measure by the percentage elongation after the application of load and percentage reduction in area due to the application of tensile force or tensile load. That is the measure of ductility. The examples of ductile materials are mild steel, copper, aluminum, nickel, zinc, etc. The next property is the brittleness. What is meant by brittleness? It is nothing but a breaking of a material with little permanent distortion. Means what? Brittle materials when subjected to tensile load snap off without giving any sensible elongation. Means what? If we take the simple example of a cast iron or a chalk, if we apply some tensile force or tensile loading on the chalk or cast iron, it will suddenly break. It will not going to give any kind of indication of its breaking. Means there is no indication of its breaking without a little permanent distortion. It just breaks without giving any indication. Means there is no neck formation like ductile materials. It will get suddenly break. If this kind of a property is possessed by that material, then we can say that material is the brittle material. Next is the malleability. We have studied the property of the ductility. In case of ductility, we have formed wires from the material, and if this material permits to be hammered or rolled into thin sheet, if the material is able to form wires, then we say that it is a ductile material. And if that material has the ability to permit to form the rolled, or it can be rolled or hammered into sheets, then we can say that material is the malleable material. A malleable material should be plastic, but it is not essential to be strong. The malleable materials commonly used in engineering practices are lead, wrought iron, copper and aluminum. Means from these materials we can form the thin sheets, plain sheets. We can hammer that material, we can form the thin sheets. That's why we can say that this material possesses the property of the malleability. This is the property of the malleability. That means that material has the ability to form a thin sheets. Next is the toughness. Now toughness is the resist fracture due to high impact load. If sudden load is applied on the material, and if it resists fracture, means it does not get fractured due to the sudden applied load. And if it does not get fractured, then we can say that material is tough. the toughness of the material decreases when it is heated. It is measured by amount of energy that a unit volume of a material has absorbed after being stressed up to the point of fracture. Now this property is used in the impact loads, shock loads and impact loads. If we hit with the hammer on a nail, and if that nail do not get fractured, then we can say that nail possesses sufficient toughness property. In simple language, it resists the impact loads, it resists the shock loads, it does not get fractured. That is known as the toughness. That is the property of the toughness. And this property is used in the applications where there is a impact or shock loads. Take the example of the valves of the IC engine. There is a dead load is not there. Always there is an impact of that forces. Take the example of a piston surface. On the piston surface there is always impact of the gases, pressurized gases. Take the forging machine. Example of the forging machine. There is always an impact loading is going on. So in this case, the toughness property plays an important role. Now next property is the hardness property. Now there is a difference between the hardness and strength. Please try to understand the difference between the hardness and strength. Now hardness is resistance to wear and strength is resistance to externally applied force. Keep in mind, the hardness is resistance to wear, scratching and deformation. Strength is resistance to the externally applied force. That is the difference between hardness and strength. The best example of the hardness is the scissor that we are using. It has a hardened properties. It does not get scratched, or it does not show any scratching or deformation or wearing action. This is the example of the hardness. It does not show any, it resists the wear action. Next property is the resilience. To absorb energy and to resist shock and impact loads. It is same as the toughness. If we just look at the property of the toughness, it also resists fracture due to impact loads. It also absorbs energy and resists shock and impact loads. That is the resilience. It is measured by the amount of energy absorbed within elastic limit. That is the most important difference. It absorbs energy within an elastic limit, but in case of toughness, the material should be plastic one. In case of toughness, the material should be plastic one. That is most important case. In case of resilience, it absorbs the energy within elastic limit, but in case of toughness, it has crossed the elastic limit. In case of toughness, when it absorbs the energy, the material is in plastic stage. The next important property is the creep. When a part is subjected, or when a component is subjected to constant stress at high temperature for a long period of time, when any component is subjected a constant stress, means there is an induction of stress for a high temperature range for a long time. In this case, if this happens with the material, then it will undergo a slow and permanent deformation. Again say, slow and permanent deformation. Means change in size and shape. Slow and permanent deformation under constant stress at high temperature for a long period of time. That is the 4 necessary conditions. What happens? What is meant by creep phenomena? What is meant by the creep? How it develops? It is a slow and permanent deformation of a material under the constant stress. If constant stress will going to induce in the material when it is subjected to different kind of loads, when a certain material is subjected to different kind of loads, it will undergo a slow and permanent deformation. What is the cause of permanent deformation? When it is subjected to high temperature for a long period of time. If any material is subjected, if that material is working in a high temperature conditions for a long period of time, then that material shows a slow and permanent deformation. That slow and permanent deformation shown by that material for a longer period of time is known as the creep. Now this creep phenomena is of most important in case of the design of turbine blades, because these turbine blades, take the example of a steam turbine blades, because the steam turbine blades are always subjected to the high temperature steams for a longer period of time. If such kind of phenomena continues for a longer period of time, then it shows some slow and permanent deformation in that material, in that blades, and this is known as the creep phenomena. That is known as the creep phenomena. So this is the concept of creep. This property is considered in designing internal combustion engines, boilers and turbines. That is the creep property. And last one is the fatigue. Now what is the difference between creep and fatigue? Try to understand. When a material is subjected to repeated stresses, in case of creep, it is a constant stress. It fails at stress below the yield point stress. We have seen in case of ductile materials, the design criteria is the yield point stress. The material will fail when that stress induction will cross the value of, or it will override the value of yield point stress, means yield stress. But in case of fatigue, what it happens, due to the, when material is subjected to repeated stresses, means there is maximum, minimum kind of a stresses induction is there in a material, then there is a slow and permanent deformation of a material. Means it fails before actually reaching its yield value. It also means the ability of the metal to resist these repeated stresses. If it fails before the actually breaking stress value, then we can say it undergoes a fatigue phenomena. It has the fatigue property. Such type of failure material is known as the fatigue. The failure is caused by means of a progressive crack formation. The indication of this fatigue failure is the formation of a crack formation which are fine and microscopic size. This property is usually considered or used in designing of the shafts, connecting rods, springs and gears, because these materials, these components, that is the connecting rods, springs, gears, are always subjected to the repeated stresses. There is no constant value of stress which is induced in this component. In case of creep, the stress is a constant, but in case of a fatigue failure, we can say a component is failed due to the fatigue failure. The component fails due to the fatigue failure means what? It fails before actually reaching the value of yield stress, means that the less value than the yield stress due to the application of the repeated stresses, that components get failed. That is known as the fatigue failure. So these are the some properties of the mechanical properties of the material that we need to consider before actually choosing any particular element, particular material for a particular component. That is the strength, stiffness, elasticity, plasticity, ductility, brittleness, malleability, toughness, hardness, resilience, creep and fatigue. I hope you have understood the concept of the properties of the materials and how these properties are related with the selection of a material. What is the significance of understanding the different properties of the materials? Thank you.